I love that music. It wakes you up in the morning. It gets you fresh, ready, and set to go just like a great cup from Cafe Kubal. Hello, everybody. We're here for the Wake Foreset Syracuse pregame show inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Some extra footage, extra broadcasting time as we've done for you every single game this Syracuse football season, home and away. We have been able to pregame with you, postgame with you, or both. So very, very happy to be here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, during the week, we also do the midweek blitz with Julian Wiggum, and we have alumni throughout the week and throughout these last few weeks, throughout the whole season, talking about the team as well. So plenty of coverage of Syracuse football, getting so many different opinions, thoughts, views, and excited to always have you here and be a part of it. So welcome into the show. Thank you so much for being here. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is right here with you, pre-gaming this weekend for Syracuse's game coming up against Wake Forest inside of the Dome. It is Syracuse's fourth game in the Dome this season, and they're looking for their second win in 4 tries inside of the Dome this year. Syracuse is 1-5 on the season overall, and their only win of the season came in their first game in the new Dome, which is against Georgia Tech. So, Syracuse looking to get back on the right side of things and find their second win in the Dome, second win overall, and let's discuss it. Syracuse playing Wake Forest. We know that Wake Forest is if you don't know, Wake Forest is a running team, and that is one of the Achilles heels of Syracuse this season is stopping the run. So this is one of those times where Syracuse really needs to show that they've grown. They really need to get better in this situation if they hope to win this game, because if Wake Forest has watched any film on Syracuse, they know exactly what they need to do. They know they need to run the ball. They know they need to run it hard, and they need to run it often. So Wake Forest comes into this game against Syracuse with multiple running backs here, and to know that Syracuse struggles against that run is going to be something, like I said, that I believe that they'll exploit. It's something North Carolina exploited. It's something that Duke definitely exploited, to the tune of having 2 running backs go for over 160 yards in the game together, Deion Jackson and as well as Mateo Durant. And then you look at the next game with Shedra Lewis going for 170 yards on 10 carries and what they were able to do on the ground, speaking of Liberty. And, Clemson wasn't crazy on the ground with Travis Etienne, but he was able to get 3 touchdowns, which is exactly what he did against Syracuse 2 years ago when they were there in 2018 in Death Valley every other year going to visit Clemson inside of the Atlantic Division. This year there's no divisions, but they keep with that, and they ended up going back there and having almost the exact same thing happen when you look at what Travis Etienne was able to do against them. So there's something to be stated there and something to be known there, and that's where Syracuse sits right now, is they have struggled against the run, consistently struggled against the run. And as we move forward here and take a look at Wake Forest and what they've been able to do to run the ball, like I said, they have multiple guys that are out there, and I have some thoughts on what's going to happen in that respect, but we'll get into that in a second. Wake is in the middle, right around the middle of the Atlantic Coast Conference standings. Duke is at the bottom. Syracuse is second from the bottom. And as we look at it, it's Clemson 1, then Notre Dame, who joined the conference for this season. Third is Miami. Then we have 4 North Carolina, 5 NC State, 6 Virginia Tech, despite losing to Wake Forest recently here this past week. 7 Boston College, 8 is Wake Forest, and then 9 Georgia Tech, 10 Pittsburgh, 11 Louisville, 12 Florida State, 13 Virginia, Syracuse 14, Duke 15. So when we take a look at Wake Forest and their ability to run the ball, these are the names that you need to know when speaking on Wake Forest. And I want to welcome you all in that are just joining us. I want to thank you for being a part of the pregame show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. It's Halloween. It's perfect time for treats. Get them today. Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com. Use the promo code DT20. If you live in central and upstate New York, you can, and you're going right into 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool to pick it up anyways. Do it online and order it for in-store pickup. You can get 20% off online and pick it up in the store. Instead of just going into the store, do it all, set it all up, get it all ready, make sure that they'll have it when you get there, and you can get 20% off. So go to maandpazpopcorn.com, use the promo code DT20 at checkout, and then go pick up your popcorn or have it shipped to you. But if you need it for Halloween, got to go pick it up today. So make sure you get your flavors today and get yourself something nice from maandpazpopcorn.com. With that being said, to take a look at Wake Forest in this matchup and their rushing attack, which is the first thing we're going to look at because, as I said before, it's Syracuse's biggest issue defensively. Syracuse knows how to get those takeaways, but they struggle against the run. Wake Forest this season has not relied on their quarterback to throw the ball that much. In their 5 games this season, he's only attempted 117 passes. He has over 1,000 yards at 1,003, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Sam Hartman, their quarterback, is 63.2% completion percentage. He's been sacked almost 20 times this season, which bodes well for Syracuse's defense. 17 sacks on the season. But could Syracuse be the first one to grab an interception? If it's going to be anybody this season, I would say yes. I know Syracuse has had a lot of woes, but if you were thinking about what can they do, what will they do, I would put it on Syracuse to get an interception. I would lean on that side. Because no matter what's happened and how much Syracuse has struggled, the thing that they can do is create turnovers. And so if you're going to get a quarterback to make their first interception of the season and you're looking at what game that's going to come in, I would say there's a good chance it will happen here because how well Syracuse's defense sniffs out the ball and the defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. So I know Sam Hartman isn't relied on as much, but when he does throw that ball, look for Syracuse to try and make his first mistake this season when it comes to an interception. Kenneth Walker III, Christian Beal-Smith, Justice Ellison, and Will Drawdy, all guys who have gotten into the end zone on the ground as running backs for this team. Kenneth Walker leading the charge, 449 yards on 90 carries, 5 yards a carry. His longest carry of the season is 75 yards. Syracuse gave that up to Shedro Lewis for Liberty. That's 8 touchdowns on the season for Kenneth Walker. Christian Beal-Smith, 71 carries, second most on the team, second most yards at 385. 5.4 yards a carry leads the team. 58 yards is his longest run of the season, and he has half the touchdowns of Kenneth Walker, still puts together 4. Justice Ellison's carried the ball 9 times for 30 yards, 3.3 yards a carry. Longest one is 16 and has a touchdown. Will Drawdy, 4 carries, 19 yards, 4.8 yards a carry. His longest is 8 yards, and he has a touchdown as well. I would look out for Justice Ellison and Will Drawdy to get something going because that's what typically happens against Syracuse, is that the guys that you don't anticipate or expect and not the guy that's not the number 1 and not the number 2 seem to do something good against Syracuse. So I would be on the lookouts for that type of a situation with the Syracuse Orange. And when I mean that type of situation, I'm talking about the fact that I would be on the lookout for the reality that Syracuse could give up a touchdown or at least a big play gainer to one of these gentlemen that is not your top 2 backs as far as carries go, and Justice Ellison or Will Drawdy. Just look out for one of them making a big play in this game. Seems to happen when it's against Syracuse. But for the main guys, Kenneth Walker III and Christian Beal-Smith, Syracuse is really going to have to figure out a way to do this. Now, the 3-3-5 defense relies on the back ends schematically. That's just looking at it in and of itself, right? You rely on your DBs, but this is where you have to have some guys cheat forward. You got to have one of those DBs come up, maybe the rover, and help you out and be there in that, in that attack against the run, in your run defense. Bring somebody up forward, cheat one of those linebackers forward, maybe cheat a DB forward to play in that linebacker position, cheat the linebacker forward to maybe not necessarily put their hand in the dirt, but to be up there close to the defensive line. Because the thing is, the 3-3-5 is going to leave those gaps. It's one less person there on the line to stop you. And in that type of situation, Syracuse could be in a place, and a good morning to Mrs. Jacks, Syracuse could be in a place where they don't have an answer again. So you can't do the same thing over and over again expecting a different result. That is the definition of insanity. So I would ask Syracuse to look at their scheme, look at what they're doing, and find a way to try and silence this rushing attack as best as they can, to the best of their ability, by cheating a linebacker forward, moving up a DB, making sure that they're spying and doing what they need to do, because Kenneth Walker is going to try and take care of business, Christian Beal-Smith as well, and like I said, look out for a big play from Justice Ellison or Will Drawdy. This is, I don't want to say Wake Forest is not the team that Syracuse wants to play right now because they can run the ball well, because the reality of it all is if you play Division I FBS college football, there's a lot of teams out there that can run the ball well. There's a lot of teams out there that know what they're doing. There's a lot of teams out there that are capable. So I would tell you to, not just look at Wake Forest and go, oh, okay, well, how am I supposed to, when you look at this game and you say to yourself, okay, well, Syracuse can't do this and that. Most teams can run the ball well. Syracuse has to find an answer to that. It's just a reality. Now, this game is going to be televised. Mrs. Jacks asked here. It's going to be televised on Fubo TV, Sling, and Hulu Live TV. It's also going to be on the ACC network. So that's not on normal cable television. If you have the ACC network in Central New York, it would be on Spectrum Channel 388, Verizon Fios Channel 571, DirecTV, Channel 612. If you have Dish, it's 402. New Visions, it's Channel 780 and Channel 80. If you don't have cable, you can get the ACC network on Fubo TV, Sling, or Hulu Plus live television. And those have limited free trials. So if you haven't used one yet, you can go out there and get one that way. So make sure that you do that if you need to, and go out there and get what you need to make sure that you can watch the game today. Unfortunately, Syracuse games, even in Syracuse, are hard to see, which is insane to say, but it's a reality and it's the truth. It's hard to watch a Syracuse game in Syracuse nowadays because of the ACC network and because, of how these games get moved around and where they get moved to. It's just a reality. And it's unfortunate, to say the least, but people want to make money. This is how they do it. So, they put them on the networks. I like the fact that there's an ACC network. I don't like the fact that fans can't watch the game in the comfort of their home, especially if they don't have cable TV, that they can't figure out a way to do it. So it kind of stinks, but this is where we're at right now. Hopefully that'll change. Maybe the ACC network can make its own app and you can pay for it individually, apart from everything. That would make it all easier. Then if somebody's paying $5.99 a month or something like that, $8.99 a month, they'd have the opportunity to do that, not have cable, and I think you'd have more people watching it, more people paying for it, and probably work out a little bit better for all fans. So hopefully that'll work out in some way, shape, or form as we move forward here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So with that being said, Wake's going to run the ball. What I got back to is the reality of the fact that, Wake is not doing anything crazy. Miss Jack said she's in Florida. I remember you saying that. So it's going to be on at noon Eastern time. That's noon Eastern time. And if you don't have cable or you are not in this area, then, like I said, you can look to DirecTV, the Dish Network, Fubo TV, Sling, or Fubo TV, Sling, as well as Hulu Plus, and see if you can get it that way. I know it's not the best answer for a lot of people out there, but it's the one that I have because that's what I'm seeing here as far as getting it. Or if you get the ACC network, Mrs. Jackson or anybody else out there, you'll be able to pick up the game as well if you have that. So that's how you're going to be able to watch the game today. Wake Forest going up against Syracuse. Like I was saying, Wake Forest is I would imagine the game plan is to just run the ball down Syracuse's throat. If you look at it, Sam Hartman has not been relied on for much. The team has 15 touchdowns running. They have 3 touchdowns passing in their 5 games this season. So they've leaned heavily on the run. You break it down, that's 3 rushing touchdowns a game on average. And then Sam Hartman's 3 touchdowns over 5 games, not even 1 passing touchdown per game. So they're going to rely on the run. Syracuse is going to have to check Kenneth Walker, Christian Beal-Smith, Justice Ellison, and Will Drawdy and make sure that they have answers to these guys as they get set and moving forward this season. Wake Forest on the season, and take a look at what they've done so far this year. This is Wake Forest in a nutshell. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They started off the season losing to number 1 Clemson, as everybody else has, 37-13. They lost at NC, and that was at home. They lost at NC State, 45-42. They had the game postponed against Notre Dame to December 12th due to Corona, supposed to be played on September 26th, which was the day that the Dome reopened. And then Campbell, Virginia, and Virginia Tech have all felt the wrath of Wake Forest, but those were all home games. So, just as Syracuse had 3 home games in a row, Syracuse didn't take care of business on them, though. They got 1 out of 3. But Wake Forest, on the other hand, they got 3 out of 3. Wake Forest is on a 3-game winning streak, but all those wins came at home. They beat Campbell 66-14. They beat Virginia 40-23, and they got a win over a ranked team, which Syracuse does not have this year. Win over ranked Virginia Tech, 19th in the nation, 23-16 in the game. When you look at the passing yards, Sam Hartman, 182 passing yards against Clemson, 236 against NC State, 166 against Campbell. His big game was 309 against Virginia and 110 against Virginia Tech. Your running backs that have led the way, Beal Smith, 29 yards against Clemson. Walker got over 100 with 131 against NC State. Beal Smith got 130 against Campbell. Walker, the third, got 128 against Virginia, and Beal Smith got 129 against Virginia Tech. So, Wake Forest has had a 100-plus yard running back, 120-plus yard running back in 4 of 5 games this season. The only game they didn't was Clemson, and the guys have split it. Their 2 top running backs have split it back and forth. Walker, then Beal Smith, then Walker, then Beal Smith. If it follows that, then it's going to be back to Walker in this game. But either way, you got 2 running backs that have rushed for, over, you got a running back that's gone for over 120 yards in each of the last 4 games for Wake Forest, and you got 2 different guys achieving that. And, half of the time one guy does it, then another guy does it. But when we look at the most recent game against Virginia Tech, to take a look at that and to break it down and let you know what happened as far as, Beal Smith led the way, but what did Kenneth Walker do? Kenneth Walker got into the end zone. He had 66 yards. He carried the ball 23 times. Christian Beal Smith, 13 carries, 129 yards a carry, 9.9 yards per carry in the game. Ja'Cory Roberson had 6 catches for 46 yards to lead the team most recently. Everybody else had 1 catch in the game. So that's important to see that as well. Roberson, when we take a look at what he's done for Wake Forest this season, he has been one of their top targets, if not the top target. He had 6 catches against Virginia Tech, 7 against Virginia, 2 against Campbell, 7 against NC State, and 4 against Clemson. He only has 1 touchdown in the season, which came against NC State in a loss by 3 points, but Roberson has been the guy to key in on. So Sam Hartman, he does air it out. He has some, he has a 300-yard game in there, and he's got over 200-yard games as well that are happening in the grand mix of things. But the reality of it all, Miss Jack said she's got Hulu. Okay, so you should be able to watch it, Mrs. Jack's on Hulu. And I still call her Miss Jax because she's my 5th grade teacher. So you can get it on Hulu. It's Hulu Plus Live. So if you have Hulu Plus Live, you have to have the live component. You might be able to do a free trial for like 7 days or something like that. You'll be able to get it on there. So make sure you check that out. And thank you, Mrs. Jax, for asking the question so I could send that out to everybody. And a good morning to Alan as well. So, yes, Wake Forest, Sam Hartman, by the numbers, is not throwing crazy, but he can throw for over 300 yards in a game. He's only had 3 passing touchdowns, but he has not thrown an interception yet. He's coming into a buzzsaw when it comes to Syracuse and creating interceptions. They've gotten one in every game except for 1 this season, and they have the first pick 6 ever in the history of Trevor Lawrence when true freshman defensive back Garrett Williams intercepted him and returned it 39 yards to the house in Death Valley this past weekend. So, Ja'Cory Roberson is the guy to look out for in the receiving corps as far as targets. Sam Hartman, somebody who hasn't turned the ball over yet as far as an interception goes, that's something to circle as well. And knowing that the rushing attack of Wake Forest is not only good on paper overall, but that Christian Beal Smith and Kenneth Walker III are splitting back and forth, getting over 120 yards in each of the last 4 weeks. It's either one or the other, but the other is still involved. Like I said, Kenneth Walker still had 23 carries, didn't do that well, 2.9 yards a carry, but he had 66 yards and he had a touchdown in the game. So Beal Smith gives him 129 yards, and Kenneth Walker gets him in the end zone. So that's something to look at, that 1-2 punch that's going to be there for Wake Forest today, and Syracuse definitely needing to prepare to the best of their ability to stop things like that if they hope to win the game, as they've struggled against the run pretty much all season. With that being stated, I want to go to my Syracuse conversations and start it off with Anthony Queeley. Speaking with Anthony Queeley, the wide receiver who caught his first ever touchdown reception of his collegiate career this season, and he did it in a loss did it in that loss against Liberty, but still able to get it. I spoke with him about what Dino's message is currently with the team right now, and this is what Anthony Queeley had to say to me.
Anthony, just what the message has been from Dino Babers, just what you've taken away from him as a leader, and coming off of what you were able to do against Clemson, just what that message was moving forward.
We honestly just have to stay together, and we can't keep dwelling on the fact that yes, we competed against the number one team in the country, but the outcome wasn't what we wanted. So we don't. What can I say? We don't want to be stagnant. We want to keep progressing, and we want to have the mindset and we want to come in and beat that team, beat those type of teams, beat any team that comes in front of us.
That coming here from Anthony Queeley, talking once again about how the team has to stay together and they can't rest on okay, we played them tough. Okay, we had that game against Clemson and we didn't play that bad. We didn't lose by as much as people expected us to. We lost by 26. We didn't lose by 63. You know what I mean? So him saying, listen, it's great that we played that competitively, but we can't sit here and rest on that and say, okay, well, that's what we did against Clemson. We didn't lose by much. You want to try and win those games. You have to stay together, and you have to focus on your next opponent. Nykeim Johnson, also in the receiving corps, him and I had a conversation, and this is what he had to say. He was on the receiving end of an 83-yard pass play with Rex Culpepper, the team's quarterback and redshirt senior. I asked him about Rex, and this is what Nykeim had to say.
Just what you can say about what Rex has done to step up this season. Obviously, you were on the other end of an 80-plus yard touchdown play against Clemson. Bring me into that play, and then Rex as a whole, what you can say about his leadership taking over.
We get those kind of looks every day in practice. We just try to play with tempo and make sure we catch guys slipping whenever we can, and just making sure we're playing fast. So that's something that we do day to day, every day in practice. Rex hits me, he hits every other receiver on the deep ball, and making sure we get that kind of chemistry going. And what I can say about Rex is he's just a hard worker. When you got a guy like that that's been around for a while, and he's just making sure he's focusing on his job, and his job is to step up at this point, and so that's what he's doing. He's just making sure he's going to be ready for any challenge that we're going to have to face.
That coming from Nykeim Johnson in my conversation with him this week in our Q&A, that Rex is going to be able to go up against everything. Got to make sure the team is ready for what they're about to face, saying that they get those looks like that 83-yard touchdown pass play against Clemson, get those looks all the time in practice. It's about getting under it. It's about tempo. It's about finding that. I will give Rex some credit. It seems like he's more comfortable than what we had seen at the quarterback position for Syracuse earlier on in the season. He seems to be more comfortable in the pocket. He seems to, and we know that he can throw bombs. We know he can throw them on the money. We know he can drop that ball in perfect timing. And so there's some really good things to take away from Rex. I'm happy that he finally got it. And for a man who's been through a lot, a man who was recruited by Schaefer and the staff, a man who Tim Lester was excited to work out, thought he was like a Tim Tebow type of player, that they never got the chance. And then 22 guys had committed to Syracuse, and either by them not feeling good about it or maybe Dino and the staff not feeling good about it, that list of 22 verbal commits to Schaefer's staff went down to 4. And Rex was included in that. It was Sam Heckel, Mo Neal, Scoop Bradshaw, who's the brother of Rex Culpepper, brother from another mother, and they've formed a bond at HB Plant and became family. And so, Rex being the lone wolf left, so to speak, and trying to find his place here on the team and then having to go through cancer treatment and overcoming that, thank God, and hopefully for always. God bless to everyone, and may all of us who don't have cancer never get it. And may anybody who does have cancer get rid of it for good, do it well, be fine, and have a great, long, wonderful, beautiful life ahead of them that goes by slowly. My prayers and my hopes go out to every single one of us. With that being stated, Rex going through all of that and getting on the other side of it, and then still being the backup, and still not having that opportunity to go out there in college, and maybe never having that opportunity in college to be the starting quarterback, now as a redshirt senior, post-cancer, and everything he's been through, and a staff changing, Rex Culpepper is the quarterback of this team as of right now. And my hopes and my prayers is that he goes out there and does a fantastic job, because this man has been through so much, and now to be under center and have this opportunity, I pray and I hope he makes the most of it, that he does incredibly well, and that he has the opportunity to excel, because this is an opportunity that may have potentially never come to fruition. So I'm very happy for Rex, and I hope things continue to go well for you, brother. God bless you and your family. So, with that being stated, I want to go to my last conversation, and that is with Mikel Jones. Mikel and I had the opportunity to speak, the linebacker on the team that leads the team in interceptions. He got his first interception of his collegiate career in the first game of the season on the road at North Carolina, and since then he's been able to put 3 together in 6 games, so half the time he's getting a pick, and a lot of respect for him. But I asked him this time around about, he said he trusts in the back line. Well, in trusting in that back line of those DBs in the 3-3-5, the majority of the players on defense are in that back line, 5 defensive backs. You got your safeties, your corners, your rover. And I asked him about Garrett Williams, who got the first ever pick 6 in the collegiate career of Trevor Lawrence, and took it to the house 39 yards, and just what he had to say about Garrett Williams.
You said you trust the back line. What you can say about Garrett Williams, first pick 6 in Trevor Lawrence's career, and Garrett was able to do it stepping up this season. Just what you can say about him and what he's meant to you back there.
Garrett, my dude. I seen him work all seasons, just like me, just put in the extra work and just focus on his craft. He's been good ever since I've been on the field with him. It's like everybody trusts in him. We know he's gonna handle it up and do his job every time.
Thanks, Mikel.
So Mikel saying that he trusts him to do his job every single time. Syracuse defensively, again, that is where they lean. The offense seemingly has woken up more under Rex Culpepper, and that's no knock on Tommy DeVito. It's just the truth. It looks like Syracuse's offense is seemingly woken up a little bit more. Some of those passes look a little bit prettier. Some of those plays look a little bit better. But Syracuse has to put together a complete game in order to have any chance of winning. And Syracuse's defense is going to have to stop or at least contain the run. You got 4 different running backs. Dave Clawson's got a giant stable. If one doesn't work, he goes to the other. If that doesn't work, he goes to the other. If that doesn't work, he's still got another. So Syracuse has a tall task ahead of them, knowing that their offense is their biggest glaring issue, and their run defense is right there toe-to-toe with being their biggest glaring issue on the team. The best part of their team, takeaways. That's the best part, is creating the opportunities. The fact that Rex is making it look a little prettier from the quarterback situation, that's another positive opportunity. The fact if he can stay healthy and stay well and stay out there and stay consistent, and they'll trust him and they'll actually give him the ball. When we look at the situation in the backfield for Syracuse, that's another big element and a big component of this game, is Syracuse leaning on the run, and not just leaning on anybody, but leaning on Sean Tucker, and leaning on the fact that he has been able to bring this team forward and do some pretty incredible things as a true freshman himself. If anything makes a Syracuse fan have some positivity looking forward, it's what the future holds. You have Sean Tucker, a freshman, out there doing an amazing job, right? You have Garrett Williams and Rob Hanna and Jihad Carter out there doing amazing jobs. These freshmen are doing a fantastic job. So the future of Syracuse football looks bright with these freshmen getting their first career this and first career that this season, which is huge, especially just a few games in. Individually for Syracuse defensively, to let you know, I said Mikel Jones leads the team in interceptions with 3. And then we have Garrett Williams, Jihad Carter, Rob Hanna, Josh Black all have 1. Trill Williams has 1. And no longer with the team, but Andre Cisco had 1 as well. So that's something of note. Leading the team in total tackles is Mikel Jones as well with 44. Behind him, Jeff Canton-Arku, who stepped up in a massive way. Big shout out to Jeff Canton-Arku with 41 tackles this season. A majority of those have been solo. He's got 33 by himself and only 8 assisted. And then Garrett Williams has 34. Jihad Carter has 31. Rob Hanna has 29. So in the top 5 leaders in tackles on Syracuse's team, 3 of those top 5 are true freshmen. Shout out to that. Josh Black is in there with 26, Afatu Melifonwu with 25, True Williams with 24, McKinley Williams in his last season, he's got 21 this season, and hard to believe that some of these guys are finishing up, and kind of sad for me because I get to know them over time. Josh Black has 2 sacks to lead the team, with Kingsley Jonathan also 2. McKinley Williams and Lee Kapabga has 1 apiece. We also have Stephon Thompson has 1, Marlo Wax has 1, Tyrell Richards, Cody Roscoe, they have 1 sack, and Cam Jones has a sack to this season. So a lot of good stuff coming from Syracuse's defense. Offensively, Sean Tucker's leading the way with 362 yards net this season, with the only 3 rushing touchdowns for the team. Behind him is Jawar Jordan Jr. with 72, then Nykeim Johnson, the wide receiver, with 59, Markenzie Pierre with 50. So Sean Tucker leads the running back room, with the next running back netting yards almost 300 less than Sean Tucker. That shows you how important and how vital he's been to the team this season. He's got 362, and the closest guy to him, Jawar Jordan Jr., has 72 yards. That's it. So it's definitely on Sean Tucker, and hopefully, God willing, stay healthy more than anything else, and go out there and go to work, young man, because he's been fantastic. Rex Culpepper has thrown 5 interceptions and 5 touchdowns, so he's even with that this season. His completion percentage is 43.53, but there has been some drops in there. And he's got 499 yards passing, 37 of 85 is what it looks like so far. And then receiving for Syracuse, just to give you a note here, Taj leads the way. He didn't play against Clemson because he was essentially suspended a game by the team. 434 yards on 26 catches, and he has 4 touchdowns to lead the team, as well as his yards lead the team, as well as his receptions lead the team. Behind him, Anthony Queeley, 20 catches, 220 yards, and a touchdown. Nykeim Johnson, 13 catches, 218, and 2 touchdowns. Those are all the guys that are 200 yards plus receiving. And then we have Luke Benson's got a touchdown. Aaron Hackett has a touchdown as well, the 2 tight ends who have only caught a few passes, only been targeted a few times this season. 54 yards for Aaron Hackett on Luke Benson on 2 catches, 45 yards on 4 catches for Aaron Hackett. Would love to see the tight ends get more opportunity out there. I think it would really open up this offense. And typically when a quarterback struggles, they lean on their tight end and their running game. So I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen more of that. So with all of that being said, that is your pre-game for Wake Forest at Syracuse. Wake running that rock. Syracuse needing to run that rock. Syracuse's offense needing to hold on to the ball. Wake Forest going up against the team that has the most takeaways in the nation with Syracuse, but Syracuse now has to do something with them. Syracuse going up against a team that's going to run it down your throat, which they struggle with, and they're going to have to find an answer for that and find it quick, because if Wake can run, they're going to condense the clock. Not only are they going to have a better chance of scoring, but they're going to turn those into 6-minute drives, 5-minute drives, 7-minute drives, and that's not what you want to see, because Syracuse has struggled with time of possession and what they do with that time of possession this season, which has been a double-edged sword. Struggling with keeping the ball, and at the same time, when they do have the ball, struggling with getting anything done with it in the moments that they have it, even in games where the time of possession is almost split. So, with that being stated, my final note that I want to make here is to look at Wake Forest defensively. And Wake this season, like I said, they're 3-0 in their last 3 games, but all those games were at home. They've only played 1 road game. They lost to NC State by 3, and they lost to Clemson at home by 24 points. In this season, Wake's defense has allowed 37, 45, 14, 23, and 16. The best game to say they allowed 16 points in was the game against Virginia Tech, where they were able to condense it against a top 25 team. Nobody else is ranked in the nation's top 25 except for Clemson, who they gave up just shy of 42, and NC State, who's a good team this year, but unranked at the time, gave up 45 to them. Campbell, the game went as you would expect it to. You're supposed to win games like that. That's like a Liberty game for Syracuse. 66-14, they win that. And Virginia's been a little bit down this year, and well, maybe a lot of it down this year, and they beat them by 17 this season. So to look at that and to see what they've done in that respect most recently, to look at Wake Forest defense, Wake Forest defense was able to intercept Virginia Tech 3 times. Hendon Hooker got 3 interceptions from him, and there was multiple fumbles, but Wake Forest did not recover a single of the 3 fumbles that Virginia Tech had. That would have been 6 turnovers, made it even easier to win in that game, you would imagine. Most recently, they had 3 sacks to go with those 3 interceptions, 6 tackles for a loss. Overall, 4 passes defended, hurried the quarterback 1 time. The guy that led the charge is Nick Anderson with 11 total tackles, 9 of those solo, followed by Carlos Basham Jr. with 9 total tackles. He had a sack in the game. A.J. Williams had 9 tackles. Jaquez Williams had 9 tackles as well. And we had Jasur Taylor had 7 tackles in the game. Travion Red had 6 tackles in the game. Ja'Cory Jones had another sack in the game. And then Chase Monroe and Miles Fox split a sack in the matchup, just to let you know of some of those defensive names that led the charge for Wake Forest. Overall, when we look at them statistically, I do want to make some notes here and make mention overall this season of what we have to look at. So defensively, Jaquez Williams leads the team with 42 total tackles, Nick Anderson with 33, Travion Red with 31, Zion Keith with 28. As far as solo tackles go, Jaquez Williams leads the team with 23 as well, followed by Nick Anderson with 21. Our sack leaders on the season for Wake Forest, 5 sacks for Carlos Basham Jr., who's a guy to look out for. Ja'Cory Jones has 2. Miles Fox has 1.5. Will Smart has 1. A.J. Williams has 1. Chase Monroe has a half a sack this season. Interception-wise, the player to look out for out there is Nick Anderson with 3. So Nick Anderson not only giving you the tackles, not only getting there and sacking the quarterback as a DB, but also leading the team with 3 interceptions. Zion Keith, A.J. Williams, Kalen Carson, as well as Travion Red and Jasur Taylor all have an interception as well this season. And as far as fumble recoveries, guys that have gotten to it, they only have 3 fumble recoveries this season. Kenneth Anderson, Kenneth Dix III, and Zion Keith, all defensive backs doing it. So the big names to look out for this week for Syracuse in this Wake Forest battle that they have defensively, the guys to look out for, because we talk about what Syracuse could do defensively. Nick Anderson is a big name to look out for when you look at fumble recovery, when you look at interception, when you look at total tackles, when you look at sacks. He's a part of everything out there right now. And then, of course, you have to look out for Carlos Basham Jr., defensive lineman, and Ja'Cory Jones, defensive lineman, as well as Miles Fox when they've gotten after it sack-wise this season. And, of course, total tackles at Jaquez Williams at the linebacker position. So a lot of good defenders on Wake Forest. The big names to look out for, Carlos Basham Jr., Nick Anderson, I would say, and Jaquez Williams are the guys to definitely look out for. Ja'Cory Jones and Miles Fox potentially as well. So those are your names. That's what we got. That is Wake Forest and Syracuse giving that to you this morning with our conversations. I want to thank Anthony Queeley, as well as I would like to put a special thanks out to Nykeim Johnson and Mikel Jones. I want to thank Syracuse University, the athletics department, and the football team, as well as Dino Babers for allowing us the opportunity to speak with the players. This is Wake Forest at Syracuse's pregame, and I'll see you at the Dome. Make sure you find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And you can listen and watch Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora during our normally scheduled hours weekly, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. And, of course, you can search our archives. Just added the Papa Joe Show there. You can go to our archives on Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, iHeartMedia, as well as Podbean, and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That's literally all you have to do is just search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you'll find me on any one of those as well as others. And, of course, I want to give a special thanks to all of our proud partners. Of course, we're inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. A big shout-out to Carvel DeWitt, where I have my Orange Dream. It's a spin on the orange creamsicle as a sundae and as a shake form. You can get it there, and, of course, it's an ode to the city of Orange, which is Syracuse. Go out to Carvel DeWitt exclusively and get your very refreshing Sunday or Shake Orange Dream on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. The Wildcat Sports Pub, where we will be after the game for the post-game show with Rob Drummond, former Syracuse player and always born and raised in Syracuse, always connected to Syracuse, and a fantastic person. Avicoli's AVS10, use that promo code if you're getting some pizza and wings and whatnot, getting some veal, whatever you're ordering, some pasta, some ziti from Avicoli's to watch the game, use the promo code AVS10 online and you get 10% off at myavicoli's.com. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the two most fantastic places to bring your animal for short and long-term care when it comes to our furry-loving friends, the dogs going to Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. I appreciate what they do. I thank them for what they do and taking care of Lily at the campground and everything that they've done, as well as going to the daycare and being able to get some toothpaste for Lily and help her out with her teeth and whatnot, peanut butter flavor, of course, and to buy the COVID-19 shirts where the dog's peeing on the virus and it says, lift your leg on the virus, and that money goes, it stays right here in our community and goes to people that are helping to protect our animals, keep our animals safe, and find homes for them. So I want to thank the daycare and the dog boarding campground that are both located in East Syracuse right off of Bridge Street. Chick-fil-A Cicero, we know it's going to be packed today per always, outside of Sunday, Monday through Saturday, always in that drive-through, getting what you need at Chick-fil-A Cicero, and I want to thank them for what they do, and as well as not being afraid to share their love for God and their faith in God and faith in each other, faith in humankind. So thank you to Chick-fil-A Cicero for that. Honda City of Liverpool, where I get all my vehicles. They just treated me fantastically once again. Thank you to Honda City of Liverpool for doing right by me and taking care of my baby, my CRV. Millhouse Market, worth the drive every time, 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. If you haven't been up there, your taste buds will thank you for going. They have an app on the Apple app and Google Play Store. Download it, get the whole menu, and you have contactless pay on the app. You could tip on the app, and you could drive right up to their window, pick up your food, don't have to leave your car. It's easy, it's safe, it's simple, and the food is incredible. Millhouse Market, I am so happy that I found you. Shout out to my dad. And I'm so happy that I can help other people find you as well on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. Trapper's Pizza Pub, where we have our ESM events. We got something coming up here for November, God willing. And, of course, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn. Go to maandpaspopcorn.com and use my specific personal promo code DT20. That's Dan Tortora, DT20. Use the promo code. You get 20% off whether you're having it shipped to you or you're picking it up in-store. You can choose in-store pickup or delivery, but you get 20% off only by going to maandpaspopcorn.com. So make sure you do it and get 20% off, DT20. With all that being said, I want to thank our beverage of choice. Of course, at Cafe Kubal, I'm on my way to go get my DT special pumpkin spice chai with almond milk. You can also find me loving up here some Coca-Cola, Body Armor, Reign, as well as Monster Energy. So thank you to each and every single one of you, and much appreciation, and a good morning to everybody out there. Appreciate you. I thank you. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic day. God bless. No stress. Do your best. And like I said, I'll see you at the Dome. So find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Have a great day. Be safe. Be well. Thank you again to my fantastic guests, Anthony Queeley, Nykeim Johnson, and Mikel Jones, and everybody who's been on the show over the last almost 18 years. And before I leave, let me say, and I have to do this because, you know, it's something that's very important to me, and I'm a fall baby, so there's no way that I can leave the show without saying to you that I hope that here on October 31st, in a beautiful, 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 beautiful time, I know that things have not been what we expect them to be. I know that it hasn't been what we've anticipated. I know that people are frustrated. I know that people are upset. I know that it hasn't been the easiest time for anybody. But I pray and I hope that you have the absolute happiest of Halloweens. Be safe, be well, and if you're going out to get some candy, just, wear gloves, wear a mask, do what you got to do. If you're passing out candy, wear gloves, wear a mask, do what you got to do. And let's continue to be a fantastic community and show that a community can survive through anything, can thrive, and can live through anything, including making sure that these kids and these families still get to celebrate a Halloween and we don't have to lose something. Just do it safely, do it with intelligence, and please be safe and be well and be happy, because that's your choice. Remember that. I'll talk to you all soon. God bless and be well. And I'm so grateful to be here.